Art2 artist, welcome to our video tutorial on multimedia still life. So hopefully yesterday you were able to check your Google Classroom and see the slideshow. Today I'm just going to do instruction on the vocabulary and kind of guide you through the slides in Google Classroom, and also talk to you about the different approaches for this project. So if you were following along in the slides, you'll see that today is the work day, and tomorrow, April 3rd, is a teacher work day. So that means your multimedia still life won't be due until Tuesday, April 7th. So what is a still life exactly? A still life is an arrangement of inanimate objects meant to be drawn or painted. So what I want you to do first is to set up a still life arrangement. So you don't have to use other things that normal artists use, but just whatever you have handy. So like I had this vase and I just put some kitchen utensils in it for mine. But you could have any theme for yours. You could put shoes or accessories, really anything, but I want you to have at least 3 objects. So what's going to be interesting about this still life is that instead of just it being a drawing, I want you to finish it in different materials, hence multimedia. So if you're following the slides, you'll see there's a bunch of different examples that people use for the materials, everything from collage, newspaper, markers, colored pencils, crayons, etc. So the one that I have been doing, so far I've done 2 sections, and I recorded a time lapse so you can kind of see me speeding through this. But my first section is done with just regular pencil, and my second section is done with my daughter's crayons. So I'm trying to use materials that you might have at home, nothing too fancy. And if all you have is a pencil or a pen, this can still work. So as far as your vocabulary words, if you're following along on that slide, I want you to write these words down and define them just like we would in class. So I already defined still life. Composition is your arrangement of your artwork. It's kind of how you piece everything together. Proportion is your principle of design that refers to size of the elements in relation to each other. So in this project, it's really important to have proper proportions, and that just means like the relationship of the size to the object so it makes sense. So like this avocado is smaller than the picture, but it's about the same size as the onion, for example. Multimedia, which is in the title of our assignment, it just means multiple materials. So it means you're using more than just one thing. And then finally, overlapping in art refers to the placement of objects, one in front of the other or behind, to suggest depth. Gives it an illusion. So you're going to be doing 3 different things to earn your grade for this project. The first thing is writing the vocabulary, which I just talked about. Number 1, define vocabulary. The second thing is you're going to watch 3 videos, kind of like how I did in class, on 3 different artists who are famous for doing still lifes. So the first one is Paul Cézanne. He is a post-impressionist French painter, and some people call him the father of modern art. I want you to watch the little video clip on him and write 3 facts about him. And you'll see that his still lifes are pretty traditional. They're like fruits and vases, that sort of thing. The second artist I want you to watch a video on is Henri Matisse. He is also a French artist, and he's what we call a fauve, and a fauve means wild beast in French, and that was actually meant to be an insult, but by an art critic when they saw his artwork, but he liked it. He's like, yes, I do paint like a wild beast. So he adopted that name and went with it. And you'll see that his style is a lot more loose with like the paintbrush strokes and really bright in colors. So you'll watch that little short video on him and record 3 facts. And then finally is a modern artist, Wayne Thiebaud, and he's famous for painting desserts, basically. So I want you to watch the video on him and write 3 facts about that. So that'll be your second grade for this project. Watch 3 videos on the artist, 3 facts. And then finally is the actual art making, which is the most important part of this. So like I said, you can use any materials that you can find, paper, pencil, crayons, magazines, colored pencil, glue, you might need scissors, pen, marker, and you will need some kind of paper to draw on and some kind of straight edge, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a ruler. So if you're following along in the slides, I will kind of insert the time lapses in here if I can figure it out. I think I can. But the first step is to set up your arrangement, and then you are going to draw the arrangement. You need to have at least 3 objects in it. And make sure you pay attention to the proportions and the where they're overlapping. So if your apples in front of the picture, make sure that you draw it that way. And I want you, when you're drawing, to fill your entire paper. Now, I know you probably don't have big art paper like this. That's okay. You can draw on anything. You can use newspaper, copy paper. You could even use wrapping paper. You can use the inside of a cereal box. So that's just like a solid brown cardboard. So it doesn't have to be big white drawing paper. Just improvise, make do with what you have. And once you do your sketch, you are going to take a straight edge or a ruler and you're going to divide it into some sections. It doesn't really matter how many sections. My idea is that each section would be with a different material, or if you don't have a lot of materials, different mark making. And what I mean by that, so if you don't have a lot of materials, all you have is a pencil or a pen. So that mark making just means instead of shading it your normal way, you could do like X's, you could do dashes, you could do cross hatching, you could do stippling. So if you don't have different materials, you can use those techniques. And I have a chart in the slideshow that I'll show you about how to do those. All right, so step 3 is to experiment with your different materials. And in each section, I want you to try to use a different material, as I said. Here are some suggestions. You could do pencil with shading, colored pencil, marker with black outline, magazine collage. Someone messaged me and asked if they could use tissue paper, like that you would, put in a gift bag. Absolutely, tissue paper would look great. I do suggest that you use watered down glue though, instead of like straight up glue. That'll work better. And if you put the glue underneath and on top, that'll have a nice effect. You could use ballpoint pen, crayon, paint, sidewalk chalk, all sorts of things. And if you use something that smears like chalk, if you spray it with hairspray, aerosol hairspray though, that'll keep it from smudging. Just a little art tip. And finally, after you finish your piece, I want you to photograph it. And then I want you to complete the self-reflection prompts. So I want you to answer. You can either handwrite or you can do this in a Google Doc. I don't have a preference. What did you make? How did you make it? Why did you choose the items that you chose? And be honest, like I chose the kitchen items because that's what was in front of me, Miss Hopkins. That's what I had. Or I chose all these things that have to do with music because music's really important to me. Or I chose my favorite hats and shoes because I love fashion and looking stylish. Whatever. Why did you arrange them the way that you did? Well, I wanted to put small objects in the front so that you could see them. I mean, that would be an obvious one. Or I wanted the focus to be on my favorite pair of shoes. Whatever. Doesn't matter to me. Just do your best. And then you'll submit this in Google Classroom for me. And the deadline is April 7th, which is Tuesday. And I would like for us to try having a Google Meet, and I'll post the join code in Google Classroom a few minutes before 2:30 on Tuesday, April 7th. I think 2:30. I just have to make sure that I don't have another meeting, but I'll post it on Tuesday, what time our meeting will be, and then I'll post our code. And what I've done in the past, like with my other art classes with the Google Meet, you know, we just kind of say hey to each other, and then we show off our art and do like a class critique. It's like, hey, this is my picture and blah, blah, blah. And I'll also ask you guys to share some facts from the videos that you took notes on. So have your artwork handy and have your notes handy when we do the Google Meet. There is a checklist in the Google slideshow. Oh, that's my dog. I also posted a link to Flipgrid for our last project since we didn't do a class critique. I haven't used that before, so I'm not exactly sure if I did it right. So if you see the link and you would be so kind to click on it, let me know if it works, send me a message. But I put that in our Google Classroom. Google Classroom is kind of like the centerpiece of how I'm communicating with you, but you can also reach me traditional email, or you can reach me through Remind. But I think Google Classroom is like the easiest way to get to me. All right, guys. Well, I hope that this is fun, and I miss your faces so much. And I hope that you guys are doing well and your families are doing well. Stay safe. And my mantra has been through this: work hard and chase rainbows. So I hope that you, whatever challenges you're facing, that you're working hard, but that you're being optimistic and looking ahead to a bright and beautiful rainbow-filled future. All right, I'll talk to you soon.